Okay, so tonight we are talking about creating your crackle, which is a term that Shalane Johnson always uses. And she says, create your crackle, which is your crazy, ridiculous, awesome, fun-filled life. So CRAFFL. And I love that. I just think that she always is so pushing you to create the life that you want based on your priorities and not, living to work. Also, if your priorities are your family, she teaches you how to really focus on that. So the first thing that she really talked to us about is that if you want to focus on something, you kind of have to make a mindset change is the first thing. So you're going to, have to create a shift in your mindset. So say you want to change something, you want to break a habit, you want to focus on something. It's all so much of your mindset is the first thing that you have to change. So if you don't shift that, things are just going to slip right back into place. So if you say, oh, I want to do this, but you don't actually shift your mindset, it's just going to fall right back into place. And I'm a prime example of this whole time when I was at that seminar, my biggest focus was to be present more in the moment, specifically with my husband and not being a slave to my phone. I've told myself this 1,000,001 times, but I never actually made a mindset shift. I was just more so like, yeah, I probably should do that. But it didn't actually really click with me until I started really digging into this. So you can say you're going to change things, you're going to say you're going to do this, but until you really truly make a total mindset shift, it's just not going to happen. So then the next thing was planning. And if you say, I would like to X, whatever it is, but I don't even know where to start. So maybe I would like to be a diamond coach, but I don't even know where to start. So you're going to have to sit there and plan. Okay, so if you want to be a diamond coach, you have to sign 8 coaches and you have to have 2 emeralds on each leg. So you're going to have to make coach posts. You're going to have to invite people. If you are inviting one person a day, that's going to take you a really long time to get to diamond. So maybe you figure out, okay, if I invite 10 people a day, that's, if I do it 5 days a week, it's 50 people a week, that's going to, things like that. So you're kind of reverse engineering your goals once you figure out what exactly it is. Then you have to do a little research and figure out how to get there. So, if you say, I want to be elite 5-star diamond coach, you're going to have to do some reverse engineering to figure out how to go do that. You're not just going to be like, speak it into existence by putting it out in the, universe. It doesn't work that way. You have to work for it. So then you're going to teach new habits and make them stick. So if you're saying you want to hit X goal and what you're doing right now isn't going to get you there, you're going to have to do something different. And you're going to have to teach yourself new habits and find a way to make them stick. So, for me, what my biggest focus was turning off my phone after a certain period of time and actually sticking to it for more than a week. Because I've said this 1,000,000 times. So, how am I going to teach myself a habit? Instead of just telling myself I'm going to do that, you actually have to figure out ways to teach habits. And I'll go over that in a little bit. But she says you're going to design your life 2.0. So right now it's the 1.0, but how do you want it to be differently? So you're designing your 2.0. Side note, I got a spray tan and I look ridiculously tan right now. This is kind of scary. Sorry. And I'm wearing like a lime green shirt, so that doesn't help. But I haven't even showered yet, so I promise I won't be orange. But anyways, squirrel. Okay. So then she kind of talked a little bit about vision boards. And I thought this was really cool because I love my vision boards. I always tell you guys to do that. But then she also was like, I'm not crazy about vision boards. If you look at your vision board goals and the only reason you can say I want that is because it's on my vision board, that's not a good enough reason. And that's so true. You don't want to just say, what should I do this year? Let me put that on my vision board. It needs to be something that's going to line up with your priorities. So if you're going to say, I want to be a top 10 coach, and if there's no way that I could say that being that my priorities right now or that I want to spend more time with my family. You don't get to be a top 10 coach and not sacrifice that time with your family. I'm not saying you can't do that. But if you talk to anybody that is a very successful coach, they're going to talk about the sacrifice that they've made with their family. So you have to look at that thing on your vision board and then also look at the sacrifices that you know will be necessary to take and say, does that line up with my priorities? And if not, then change it. Because the issue she has with vision boards is she says, you focus so much on that end result, and if you don't get it, you feel like a failure. And you don't focus on the journey that you took to get there, kind of thing. So if my in-laws are here, I might have to move rooms, by the way. Maybe not. Okay, sorry. So basically, you want to focus on the journey it takes to get there, and you can celebrate things along the way, and not just like, on my vision board last year was to be a top 75 team in the country. We were 105. Does that mean just like, oh, I failed? No, 105 was still amazing. It was awesome. So you want to look at your vision board as not just like, oh, failed, didn't hit that, try again. So that's another reason why vision boards are awesome, but you also want to focus on the journey and, things along the way. Make a list. Okay, so here, I'm going to give you some homework during this call, so feel free to just write it down, and then you can do it tonight. I want you to make a list of what you don't love. So that's in your job, that's in Beachbody, that's in your personal life. I mean, like taking out garbage could be one of them. It's in all aspects of your life. So you're going to write down the things which you don't love and write it down. So this could be things along with your daily schedule, pressures involved with your job, whether it be your job, being a mom, Beachbody, whatever. Job responsibilities, things with your home life, obligations. It could be like paying bills, like, whatever. I want you to write it all down. Okay. Then I want you to write down what your ideal day would look like from start to finish. And not just like, oh, if I was a little bit more successful, there would be this. I want you to be an ideal day, like you're like a crazy, ridiculous, awesome day, And so go from there. So you're going to write down what you don't love. You're going to write down your ideal day. I do have to move. Hold on. They're just getting home from a trip. I don't want to be in their living room. Hold on. Oh, light. Okay. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. This is not good for my brain, stopping and starting. I don't even know where I was. Okay. So then she talks about living your purpose. To live your purpose is to look for opportunities to share your gifts, lessons you've learned, and challenges you've overcome, to help those who are positioned to receive. And I think positioned to receive is so important, because you can talk about things that you've learned, and you can talk about things that have worked for you, and you can talk about awesome habits that have helped you. But if somebody isn't in the position to receive it, and they're not there in that point of their life, that's not going to benefit them. And I think of Beachbody so much when I think of this. I think how great these programs are, how much they've helped me, how much it'll help so many people that complain about this, that, and the other. And if they're not in the position to receive it, then you can't, help them. But there are a ton of things that you can help people with. Just with, for me, a lot of my issues that I talk about, a lot of self-confidence, like you are enough, you are good enough. So you can, that can be something. Okay, I can't focus. I hate the chat when I see it. I made a comment about my spray tan. I'm sorry. But yeah, so, think about the gifts that you think that you have. And I want you to write down 3 of those. So this could be, and a lot of it has to do with things that you've struggled with a lot. So, for me, with struggling with self-confidence and eating disorders and things, I really feel like that has been such a gift for me to teach others that, you are more than a number on the scale, kind of thing. So I want you to write down 3 gifts that you feel that you have, and incorporate those into your posting, and kind of make those some of your positive, inspirational posts in the next couple weeks. Okay. And then this was a really cool quote. I love this. It's not about what your purpose is. It's about living with a purpose. So when you figure out what your purpose is, you can also kind of, brainstorm and write down some of those things. For me, it might be like to help other people learn to love the skin that they're in. It might to realize that they are not defined by a number on the scale, things like that. To help other women find financial and men find financial freedom. Sorry, Nick. Things like that. To help other people feel fulfilled, to feel like they have a purpose other than, sitting at a 9-to-5 job. So write down some of those things too. The best homework I can give you though is go to ShaleneJohnson.com and sign up for her 30-day push. It's awesome. And a lot of this stuff that I'm talking about comes from that. So I'm kind of going over some of this stuff quickly because in the 30-day push, it's really awesome. You sign up for it. It's 30 days. And each day you get an email with a video to watch and a short assignment from Shalene. And it's just great. So I was thinking of doing that when I get back from the cruise. I've already done it once, but I definitely want to do it again. And I was thinking maybe we could get a group together. So if anybody's interested in doing that, maybe we could do it as a group and I'll be like, day 1, day 2. I've got a thumbs up from Alicia. I don't know if that's Alicia or Alicia, but oh, hi. Okay. So I think that that's a really great thing to put on your to-do list. Just basically March or April, make it your goal to finish the Shalene Johnson 30-day push, because that's an amazing free resource, because it's not only personal development, it's you making steps to take. So definitely that. Okay. And then what I want you to do is write out what success is to you. And so sometimes it's like such a broad thing and you're like, what? So I'm going to write down what some of mine is to give you an idea, because Shalene wrote down hers. So success for me is spending quality time. Hold on. No, Mac. Oh, really excited to be back in my own house. Okay. Success for me is spending quality time with my husband every night. It's cooking and making our house a home. Having a team that would choose to be around me. Having a team of happy, successful, strong coaches. Feeling close to God every day. Making my husband feel like he is number one. Being someone who is considered present and available. Knowing people know that they can come to me. Giving back to others who don't love themselves. Not being a slave to my phone. Working less and being more productive. Making an impact on people's lives. Giving back to my parents by gifting them a vacation once a year. So those were some of my success. And so I think that it's a lot of it for me this year was so focused on my relationship and Matt, because honestly, I've just ignored him for like 3 years. So I'm really lucky that he's still around. And I've told myself 1,000,001 times that I was going to make things change, and I never did. So the first years at Smart Success, I really focused on sharing my story and being more relatable. The second year was really creating systems and making things duplicatable. I created Coach Basics the week I got home from Smart Success, things like that. I did a ton of stuff in 2015 because of this. In 2016, my biggest focus is my relationship, because I sat there and I asked a question. We did VIP. So we got to have lunch with Shalene, and I actually got to stand up and ask her a question during lunch. And I said, I feel like I've said this 1,000 times that I was going to put him first, but then like he's done at work at 5, but my client's prime time talking to them is 6 to 9 p.m. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do, because I feel like I'm missing out if I'm done by 5. And she asked me, why are you putting the needs and wants and, desires of strangers before your husband? And I was like, well, that's a darn good question. So it was really cool for me to, really see that and think, I can't just do things and expect him to always be here and just expect him to always be okay that, I've put my business first for so long. So it's really cool too, to see as you grow as a person and as you grow in your business, how your priorities shift and you can change too. So I always talk about sacrifice and sacrificing this and sacrificing sleep and sacrificing that to get to where you want. But the one thing I really wish I would have put into place first a long time ago was, you can sacrifice, but you still need to set aside time for your significant other. They can't always be number 2, or relationships, family, whatever. So if I'm talking to any of you and you feel like this is a path that you're on, please, please, please make it a point right now to set aside some time and make sure that you're not a slave to your phone. And not that, are you working to just be busy, or are you working to be productive? Because Facebook scrolling is busy. Facebook scrolling is not being productive. So I really want you to focus on setting time limits for things that you're doing. And, ask yourself, just if you have to set a couple phone reminders in your phone 3 times a day that go off and say, are you being busy or are you being productive? Do it, because that's going to be like, oh crap, I caught myself Facebook scrolling, things like that. So and now that I know I need to be done by 5 p.m. except for Thursdays, I'm so much more productive. Because I know I can't just be like, oh, I'm going to scroll Facebook. I'm going to put off this workout. I'm going to do this. I know I need to be done by 5 p.m. So it makes me get my crap done. So, if you want to still do 1 or 2 nights a week, that's fine. But you don't need to be doing that every night. I'm telling you that. So, all right, where was I going next? Okay, this is really cool. So I'm going to share my screen. And what Shalene said was, you're going to write down the following 10 things. And I'm going to share this photo with you. But you're going to write down the following 10 things, and then you're going to rate them from 1 to 10. 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. So, and you can kind of just do this, even if you just do 1 through 10 and then rate them, and you can write them down later. 1 is career and responsibilities. How would you rate that? 1 being terrible, 10 being amazing. 2 is marriage and romantic life. And I want you to actually be writing these down right now and rating them. 3, physical health and fitness. 4, mental health. And that's like how you feel about yourself. Are you really negative self-talker? Things like that. 5, family and friendships. It can be your marriage, your significant other, your friendships. Do you see people often? Do you turn them down a lot? Do you make efforts to see them? Faith and spirituality. Number 7 is PD, getting smarter. Do you do stuff for you to work on you and, growing as a intellectual? 8, hobby, recreation, just for fun. Do you have fun? Do you ever set aside time for yourself? 9 is your environment. That's like your home. Do you like the space that you work? Do you have a set space for when you work? Do you like your office, or do you just sit around on the couch, and do you feel less productive? Things like that. And then 10 is finances. So I want you to rate them all, and I want you to pick your 2 lowest, the ones that you rated the lowest. And those are going to be, and when you rate things the lowest, that typically means that they're pretty important to you, and you're pretty hard on yourself because you don't feel like they're in a good spot, and those are pretty important to you. So I want you to write down those 2. And then what she had us do is 90-day goals. And from those 2 lowest categories, the first 3 90-day goals had to associate with those 2 things that you felt like were kind of in the shitter. So for me, my 2 lowest was marriage and faith. So for my 90-day goals, I really focused on some of those things. So my first 3, I'll share my first 3 with you. Set and stick to office hours starting March 20th. So when we got back from the cruise, but I actually have done that even before once I got home, I started that. Change team call time to during the day by April 1st. So I'm doing that for me. Maybe some of you have to check it on a recording, but for me, that's going to be most beneficial for me. Finish 3 faith-based books by May 30th. So those were like 3 of mine. And so marriage and faith were my 2 lowest ranking ones. So those were my first 3. Now, number 9 and 10, I'm going to tell you what those need to be. Number 9 needs to be develop a teachable system for blank and figure out what it is. So for me, mine was developing leaders and training new coaches. Yours might be Coach Basics. It might be a getting started right call. It might be something super simple. But number 9 is develop a teachable system for blank and fill in the blank. Number 10, outsource the following. And I want you to write down as many things as you can. And it doesn't matter if you don't think you have the money for it, write it down. Because you can do so much stuff for very cheap that you don't think that you can do. Some of mine were blogging, Pinterest, Instagram interaction, photo editing, video editing, challenge group post, housekeeper, fresh meals delivered, freemium promotion, newsletters, meal prep guide, all these things. So just write down a ton of stuff, and you're gonna work through figuring out how to outsource those. And she has a thing called Virtual Business Academy, and I actually bought that, and I'm going to start doing that. And she teaches you how to hire people. She actually does most of all of her virtual assistants are from the Philippines, and she pays them $3 to $5 an hour, and that's good for them. It's not like you're hiring like slave labor. Like that's their normal rate that they get because of the exchange ratio. And that's really good for them. So you kind of have to ask yourself, is it worth $5 or, $3? Say it was $3 on the low end. If you paid somebody $9 a day to do 3 hours of work, do you think you'd be more successful for $9 a day? You know what I mean? So she talks a lot about that. And it's crazy how much stuff you can actually outsource. So I'm not going to really get into too much on that of the call, because she does have the Virtual Business Academy that you can purchase and look into. But it's just crazy how much stuff that you shouldn't be doing. Like you see Chalene Johnson, you see how successful she is, and you're like, dang, how does she sleep? How does she find the time? But there are things that she talked about, how she has systems in place. So she does a oh my gosh, what's the word? Danielle, help me. What's the word for the app that she uses?
Periscope.
Periscope, thank you. I kept trying to say podcast. So she'll record herself doing Periscope. Then she'll plug in a microphone to her computer and record it there too. So she will take that, have an assistant take that recording, type it up, and put it into a blog, and then they'll take probably 10 quotes or something and put it into Twitter posts they can post for her and schedule it to buffer. Then she'll have them make Canva photos from what she said and put in some of the quotes that she said so that they can post those later. Then she'll put that, take an image and put that onto Pinterest and link it back to her blog. And then she'll take that and recording and make it into a podcast. So she's got a blog, she's got Pinterest, she's got Instagram, she's got tweets, she's got Facebook posts, and she's got a podcast all out of that one Periscope that she maybe spent 20 to 30 minutes doing. So when I tell you that it is amazing the things that you can outsource if you just let it go and do it before you feel like you really have the money to do that. Because I just started paying people. I have a woman I pay $5 an hour to do. She keeps track of everybody that posts in our challenge group. She keeps a tally and does a photo each day. Taught her how to do it on Canva, how to post it to buffer so it posts in our group every day. Little things like that. And I pay her maybe $7 a week because it doesn't take her a ton of time. So I've found a ton of stuff that I've been able to outsource. I have somebody schedule recipe posts and like silly posts to my like page every day. And then I make a couple of my own personal posts, but I'm just getting content there. Another thing is I hired somebody to take one blog post a week and take one Instagram post a week and turn it into a blog post. And then I have her make an image that she can then put on Pinterest and then link it back to that blog post. And all I'm doing is making an Instagram post. And I had her go back for the last 6 months and do that for one blog post, one Instagram post a week, and put that into a blog post and then make it a Pinterest image and then link it back to my blog post. And that's how I find some people. So, this was not me doing any extra work. It was just me paying somebody a little extra. I have somebody do a newsletter for me, things like that. So there's tons of things that you can find to outsource for not a lot of money at all. Okay. All right. So what I want to talk about the snap out of it excuse. And I absolutely love this. I actually bawled my eyes out as she was doing this because I needed this so much. So it's called the snap out of it excuse. I'm going to see where I found this. Let's see if it's on any of these. Oh, you can't really see this one, but okay. So what to do when you're angry. And she says, how to find peace is to use empathy, kindness, stay calm, be polite, know your goal, validate, and depersonalize. So this was really cool. So she says, put yourself in their shoes, and you're going to write down everything about you so think of somebody that has done something that you like wanted to kill. It could be a significant other. It could be somebody you work with, like somebody you just wanted to take them and shake them recently. So then you're going to write everything that they might say about you. And then you're going to say, what do you love about them? So I'm going to read a sample of mine because I feel like it's helpful. She read her sample and it helped me so much. So what page is that on? Oh, I didn't write it down. Give me 1 second. So basically you're going to say, what they might be thinking of you. And that's going to kind of help you to kind of take a step back and really realize like, okay, I'm not as great as I really thought I was. I have flaws too. So, oh my gosh, I'm dying. I can't find it. I literally tried to write the page number down. I just wrote page with no number because I numbered my notes so I could easily find it. Oh, here it is. Okay. So this was my snap out of it that I wrote like as if I was writing it to Matt. I know I hurt you when I'm not present and I'm on my phone, and I do it anyways. I take advantage of how caring and giving you are. I complain about the way you eat, but I don't cook you healthy meals. I don't cook you any meals. I spend hours on my phone and calls at night, but I waste time doing stupid shit during the day while you're at work. You tell me 800 times that you feel like you're number two, yet I don't change for long. I lose everything. I'm a messy, explosive person, and my stuff is everywhere, and I know you hate it, but I do it anyways. I know you hate being late, and I take too long to get ready anyways. I am selfish. So this was like a ton of stuff that I was writing down that like, if I was putting myself in his shoes, that's kind of things that I felt like he would notice. And I know you're going to be more hard on yourself than your person, you're talking about, but it was just so eye-opening to sit there. Can you imagine if you were in a fight and you had to make yourself do that, how crazy your mindset would shift? It's like, oh, maybe I don't have so much to say about that person. And then the next part of that snap out of it is then you're going to write down everything you love about that person. So, I love how caring you are. I love how you always put me first. I love how you X. So, that was honestly one of my biggest takeaways. I loved that so much. So definitely use that the next time you're mad at somebody, whether it's, somebody you do business with, a significant other, a family member, something like that. But I just feel like, how powerful is that? Wouldn't that make you just like totally stop and be like, okay, let me just put this into perspective. That was not that big of a deal when I have a lot of my own issues that I need to work on. And so, let's see. And I knew I was going to be a little scatterbrained. I just wrote everything I wanted to, but there's so much information that I'm trying to find it all. So, all right, the next thing I want to talk to you about is environment. Let's see where this is. I think this is it. Okay. So this was somebody actually that was here in the audience, like that was in her audience, like made all of these things for the things she talked about. They're so cute. So I wanted to have them up here. So she's talking about systems and habits. Systems should allow you to eat healthy, exercise, be more productive, be more organized, save time, and create a routine. So I love this part. She said, so how we form habits: environment, trigger, action, and mindless execution. So for the first part is environment would be like brushing your teeth. Who's calling me? Stop it. So environment would be like brushing your teeth. So in your own environment, if you're walking to your bathroom, your toothbrush is there. The first thing you do every morning maybe is brush your teeth. That's your environment. But if you're at a hotel, things might change. You don't have your toothbrush sitting up at that little thing next to your sink, so that might not happen. Trigger would be when you walk into the bathroom and you see your toothbrush. That's your trigger to remind you, to brush your teeth. And then the action would be brushing your teeth. So it's just a mindless execution because it's a habit. So she talks about doing this. So think about if your action was working out. You could maybe, if you walked out, as soon as you walked out of your bedroom, on your hallway nightstand or something in your hallway, you had your workout clothes set there. That would be a trigger. Oh, there's my workout clothes. I got to put them on. I got to work out. Or next to your bed, whatever. If she used an example of flossing, how many people floss that, who flosses 2 times a day, every day? And there was like maybe 4 people out of like 2,000 raise their hands, and so she asked those people, where is your floss? And they were like, everywhere in my purse. People are like holding it up. They're like right here, because they had it with them, Mine is, I couldn't tell you, is somewhere hidden in my medicine cabinet. I need to break that sucker out. So, but it's so true. For me, I just thought such a simple thing to change would be if I put my floss on next to my sink instead of hidden in my medicine cabinet. I'm going to do that because I'm going to see it and it's going to remind me. So there's so many things, whatever those habits or things that you want to change, just think about a way, what could remind me? One of the cool things she talked about to us is brain dumping. And that's basically every morning she writes down a list of everything she has to do, personal, business, health, whatever. Like go grocery shopping, I have to make a new video for this challenge group. I've got to make a cover photo for this, whatever. Write out everything. So for her, she leaves a little yellow legal pad right next to the bathroom sink. And every morning, that's her trigger. My yellow pad, that's where I'm going to write out. That's where I'm going to brain dump. So, and I think that's so important every morning. And I do that at night now too. I do it in morning and night. And I just have kind of been checking things off on the list as I go, but it helps you to clear your mind. It's almost like, I feel like I can't even have a conversation sometimes because so much stuff is happening in my head that I'm like, yeah, what? So I think that this brain dumping, it's really helping you to just let your brain chill out because you're not worried so much about everything you have to do. And then the same goes for identify unhealthy habits. Recognize your trigger, identify the reward, and make the reward difficult. So my biggest unhealthy habit is scrolling Facebook mindlessly on my phone. No purpose, no reason, or maybe I went to Facebook with a purpose, but I don't, act on it. So recognize the trigger. For me, the trigger is picking up my phone and seeing that Facebook icon and I click on it. Identify the reward. The reward for me is basically just like, it's like I get to see what everyone's doing today. It's just, I don't know why, no idea. It's just something I enjoy doing. And then make the reward difficult. So for me, what I did was I changed my Facebook icon as the first page. As soon as I, open my phone, it's right there. So I moved the Facebook and Instagram icon and Snapchat all the way to the back. And what I did is I have my Audible and my podcast on the front screen. So then the other thing that she says is replace the behavior with a different behavior. And mine would be, every time I feel like Facebook scrolling, I'm going to go listen to a podcast, or I'm going to listen to a chapter of my personal development. Because I don't need Facebook scroll. That does not make me money. That does not help my team. That does not do help my relationship. Doesn't help any of those things. So for me, that was my unhealthy habit. So I'd love for you to write down 2 unhealthy habits you feel you have, and then recognize the trigger, what makes you do those things. Identify the reward. Like, why do you like doing it? Maybe watching The Bachelor or something like that. Make the reward difficult. What can you do to make it difficult? Like that was me moving my icon so that I don't see it every time, and then replacing the behavior. So another thing she said is habits of smart successors. So successful people, they do a daily brain dump, which was just what I told you, writing out everything. It doesn't have to be business, doesn't have to be personal, it's both, it's everything. 2 to 3 push actions, and these should only take 10 minutes each. These are things that you're going to set yourself aside for you to do each day. And it's not like create coach basics, done. That's going to take you hours. So you are going to break down into 10 to 20 minute tasks and give yourself 2 to 3 of those that must be done or somebody dies kind of thing for that day. And don't you think it'd be so much easier to tell yourself, I'm going to just spend 30 minutes on these tasks versus, oh man, I probably am going to have to spend 3 hours on my coach basics. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. So if they're short tasks, they're much more likely to get done. Exercise, we all know that's good for your business. It's good for your health. Gratitude. And she says, gratitude is so helpful for clarity, for you feeling good about yourself, for you, feeling like you're in a good place mentally. And she says to set an alarm once a day to message 3 people. Or she says, what 3 people do you need to tell that you're grateful for? And she sets a reminder on your phone. It's called ITTT.com. I3Ts, ITTT.com. I think it stands for if this, then that.com. But it actually is really cool. You can set a reminder on there and it goes to a text message to your phone and it can say exactly what you want it to say. So you can send yourself a text message and be like, what 3 people do you need to tell you're grateful for? Text them now. And I think it's so cool. You can do that for, are you working to be busy or are you being productive? You know, certain things like that. So there's really great things that you can do. That's a really cool website. So let's see. What else she says? Gratitude, organization, and declutter. She was so cool. She talked so much about, let me get the book title. But she talked about how organization and clutter in your house is just not good for your mentality at all. And I was like, I'm not a clutter person. My mom is like borderline hoarder. I hate clutter. That's not me. And then the more that I thought about it, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much clutter, like so much that I can definitely get rid of. So, let's see, is this it? No, I guess I don't have that one. But, so what is happening? So the book is called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Mary Kondo, Kondo. So it's like a 4-hour book that on Audible you can get. There's also a speed reader series that's like 23 minutes long that gives you like action steps and stuff. I did the speed reader option, but it's so cool. It basically tells you like, you know, a lot of the things that we hold on to them because they have some type of significance or some type of, you know, personal place in her heart. But she's like, take a picture of it if you want it. Like, what are you going to do with that thing later? And she talks about things like, she said that her and Brock got rid of all of their trophies and all of their rewards and they just threw them away. Like, what do they need a shrine to themselves in their house? Like his old football trophies from high school and college and all that. So she threw them away. And she says that her dad goes the next day, oh, by the way, yeah, there's some things sticking out of your trash. And did you know all of your trophies are in there? I took them all out. They're at home in my house. She's like, no, like I wanted to get rid of them. He's like, what? Why are you going to throw that away? But honestly, what are you going to do with that? Like, you know, in your heart that it happened. You're not going to forget those memories or anything like that. But there's just so much stuff. Like I have books from high school and college and grad school that I'm like, oh, well, this would be really cool. If I need something, I could just look it up. And I'm like, you have Google, like throw it away. You don't need that. Like I had all these grad papers stored like, oh, I got a 99% on this. I was so proud. Cool. What, are you going to like put in a plaque and show your kids? No, they don't care. You know, so go through stuff and get rid of stuff. I've had stuff like she talked about like saving things for a party. Well, what if there's a 70s themed party? I might need these go-go boots again. Or what if there's this party? And I was like seriously dying because I'm so guilty. I seriously keep so much stuff because what if I might have it, like go to Goodwill and buy something else, like throw it away. So she talks a lot about decluttering and she talks a lot about kind of making this like an all day thing, like spend a good chunk of time doing this. And the book tells you like how to start with your clothes, do this, do that. And she gives you an awesome system. And I'm just so excited because one, there's also another way that you could meet more people because you can put it on your local yard sale site. Like I plan to just put it all in a garbage bag and be like free, like $10 for the whole bag. But that's also anybody that comments on it, I add them as friend and those are potential clients. I've probably sold 3 challenge packs and signed a coach to my local yard sale site from people I've contacted. So I'm like 2 birds with 1 stone. Yes. Awesome. So that's a really great idea too. But yeah, definitely get that book and definitely make it a point to do it. And the thing is like, don't just hear it and be like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. But honestly do it. And if you go room by room, drawer by drawer, closet by closet, you're going to feel so great. Like I really think I could probably run a dumpster with how much crap I have to get rid of. So I definitely think that you should do that, because you're just going to feel so much better to be rid of it all. I mean, why pack something? She was like, these go-go boots have been in 3 houses and 5 boxes. I've packed these things up 5 times. Am I ever going to wear them again? You know, things like that. Like, don't take stuff with you, especially if you're moving just because, you know, feel free to purge kind of thing. But I actually am really excited for that. And I do go through my clothes probably once every 4 months. And if I haven't worn it, I get rid of it, especially now that I work from home. Like, that polka dot sweater was cool for work, but am I ever going to choose to wear it out to dinner with friends? No. So, you know, things like that. I really enjoy doing things like that, because you are going to have so much of a better space as well. Okay, then we had Michael Hyatt, and he talked to us. His book is called Living Forward. I haven't started reading that, but we actually got a signed copy of that for being in VIP, and I just love what he had to say. So I will let you know how I like that book. But his 3 main questions he asked us were, how do you want to be remembered? Number 2, what matters most to you? And number 3, how can you get from here to where you want to be? And I just thought that was so powerful. He talks about like spending some time and writing what your life legacy should be, like what you want your life legacy to be. Like, if you were thinking, how would somebody remember me, and write that down, and then figuring out how to not just drift through life, but start designing your life. And I just thought that was really cool. Just basically talking about living a life with purpose. And, you know, how do you want your friends and your family to remember you by? Do you want to be remembered as a person that was always on their phone? You know, things like that. So, you know, a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is personally stuff that I was thinking while I was there, but I just really, that hit home a lot to me, because I do want to be remembered for so much more. So what do I have to do to work on designing that and not just drifting through life? So again, I'm about to read his book, and I will keep you posted on that. Well, a quote he used that I really loved was, the difference between successful people and very successful people is that very successful people say no to almost everything. And that's like, hey, do you want to do this team call? Hey, do you want to do this? Hey, can you do this? Hey, no, because they have priorities and they have shit to get done and family to spend time with. So that was a really big, I feel like I almost always need to be doing more to keep up. And that's not true. You need to say no to more sometimes, because to really focus on the important things. So speaking of that, I'm going to bring up this. Oh, where are you? Okay. So this was from Shalene. She says, if I'm saying yes because I don't want to let people down, I want people to like me, I might not get this chance again, I want the credit or recognition, I'm afraid I will be forgotten, I worry about others will say, I feel obligated, I am driven to be the best, it might lead to something else, then the smart reply is, and she wrote, just say no. And that's so true, because none of that stuff is helping you reach your priorities. None of it. And as she was saying this, so Sunday night, I had a red-eye flight home. I was going to get home at 6 a.m. in the morning. And then Monday night, I had a girls' dinner. And they had told me, I think Thursday, I was like on my way there. I was already there. And they're like, oh, we can't do it. We have to reschedule to this day. And in my mind, I just had that girls' night. Like, it was planned. Okay, that sucks. I'm going to be exhausted. I really want to go see my husband instead, but I'm going to go to this girls' night. And then she put this screen up, and I was like, why? Because I feel obligated? Are my friends going to not be friends with me if I say, hey, I have a red-eye flight, I'm tired, I want to see my husband? No. So I just texted them, and then I texted Matt that I would, get to see him, and I instantly felt better. And, we do so many things because we feel like we have to, and we do so many things because we feel like we want to please other people. And if somebody asks you to be somewhere, do something, you can say, oh, I'd really love to. I just have to check my schedule and get back to you. And that gives you a chance to not say like, no, I don't feel like it, but just say, I would love to, but I just really have to check my schedule and I'll get back to you. And then it gives you a chance to come back and be like, I just can't. Because even if if you're not a person that can say no right then and there, you can always say, I just have to check my schedule and I'll get back to you. And then you can say no and don't feel bad about it. Because if you're saying yes to everybody, that means you're probably saying no to somebody else. Somebody else close to you isn't getting your time, and some stranger is, because you feel obligated and you feel bad. And that shouldn't be the case. Some other things, and this will be what she touches on with the 30-day push, but it was really cool. She'd have you fill in the blank. I'd like to work approximately blank hours a day. And like, ideally, not like 8 hours because that's expected. Like for me, it's 5 because that's what I want to do. My favorite part of what I do each day is yada, yada, yada. And so she's got, like 18 of these things, but this is all in the 30-day push. So sign up for this. But it was really cool. She just kind of, all of this stuff just gave you so much clarity, and you really kind of had a grasp on what you really needed to work on in your life. So what I loved so much about this was that it's not just business. It's so much more than that. It's personal, it's business, it's you physically, mentally, it's a little bit of everything. So, Smart Success for me just takes away so much stuff. So I'm going to go through these and see if I missed anything. So this was creating your craftful, listing your top priorities. Let's see. Session 2, how do you get your life? What will it take? I'm abundantly blessed. We talked about this mindset, blueprint habits. Let's see. Focus on making your, this was, Dr. Amen is a really awesome, he's a psychiatrist, and he's also really big in studying the brain. He actually does brain scans, and he's found a ton of awesome knowledge that eating healthy and cutting out processed crap. He's actually a vegan, but he supports, cutting out processed crap, eating healthy, and exercising. And he's shown brain scans of how literally from point A to point B, how people have changed their brain. It was like dimply, and like, parts of their brain were literally like almost gone in this brain scan, and then they've evolved it. And sleep too is a big thing. And Chalene Johnson has talked about that in Periscope and stuff, how she got it scanned and how much hers has changed with proper sleep. And every morning when she woke up, like automatically, if it was sleep or her workout that was going to have to suffer, it was always sleep. And now she's like, if I don't get enough sleep, I can't do that anymore. So that was really cool too. But Dr. Amen, A-M-E-N, he has an awesome TED Talk if you want to look up him. He's got some really great stuff. TED Talks are awesome. There's so much awesome knowledge to be found there. But it was absolutely amazing to see the research that he had shown with how eating healthy and exercising can prevent and prolong Alzheimer's and things like that. And he showed how depression, diabetes, and obesity basically led to Alzheimer's in all cases. So that was really cool. And then Brock Johnson, Chalene Johnson's husband, he actually shared his story for the first time, and he talked about how they were $500,000 in debt because he had a gambling habit, and he had actually never shared that with anybody before. So that was pretty cool. And he talked about how he's done a ton of therapy to help him through that. But can you imagine being $500,000 in debt because of something somebody gambled away? Like, that was just so crazy to me to find that they've came through that and they have such a strong relationship. And that was really cool to see somebody that you think of as so successful has gone through something like that. And that was definitely very empowering. Snap out of it. We talked about that. Understanding our brain. Basically, technology has changed us so much because we're constantly thinking. And we have like no attention span, basically. It's basically like the same as a goldfish, our attention span right now. We talked about habits. And this was the Michael Hyatt Living Forward. I just can't believe somebody drew this. That was there. This was so cool. How to leverage your impact. So this was where she talked a lot about like the Virtual Business Academy and how to outsource things that if you do the Virtual Business Academy, you'll get. So I know that was a little bit scatterbrained because I was trying to put all my notes, and she had like sessions here, then somebody would host here. So I was just kind of going through my notes. But one other really awesome thing was Brendon Burchard. Have you guys ever heard of him? It's Brendon, Burchard, Bruchard. He's got like 1,000,001 audio books. He is awesome. He's really fun and really animated. I was literally like laughing till I was crying. I was dying. He's so funny. He was telling a story and showing pictures about how he was like skydiving and like talking about like, oh, there's a picture. Look, looks like I crapped my pants there. Like the whole time he like just keeps you engaged and laughing. So I actually bought a ticket to his event in San Diego in September, because he was just one of those people that had such an effect on me. I was like, okay, if he is this good at keeping my attention, I want to see him again. So definitely look at some of his books on Audible or Amazon and get them. But I think one of his most recent books is The Golden Ticket. So that may be it. But so he's got 5 personal musts to reach success and high performance. And one is, I must raise my ambitions and refuse to settle. And his number 2 was, I must live each day with more intention. And I just think that's like so huge. Like live intentionally. What do you want to accomplish today? Not just sit down at your Facebook and be like, what can I scroll through? Maybe I'll see somebody that makes a post that they want to lose weight. Or maybe they'll just say, hey, I want to buy 21-day fix. Does anyone want to sell it to me? Like, is that really what you're looking for? Like, because scrolling through Facebook is not going to be helpful for you. So, and this is a great quote on that topic. It's not about your busy work. It's about your life's work. So, work towards intentionally figuring out, what it is you want to accomplish versus like, well, I scrolled through Facebook for 20 minutes and I liked 10 people's photos. That must mean that I invited. No, you liked people's posts. That's not an invite. 3, I must no longer fear rejection. This part was so cool. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of read it. So sorry, I'm going to sound like a robot a little bit, but if you are still directing your life under fear of any sort of rejection, then you are still under the age of 18, despite how old your body is. I feel like that's so true. Like you're not in high school anymore. Who cares what anybody thinks? It is so silly to fear rejection when you have maybe 10 rejections out of every 1,000 people that like you, that you like. So the 10, and he goes, the 10 out of 1,000, those are the freaks. Don't worry about those 10. So, and that's so true. I made a post today about my transformation, and one girl was like, I'd like to see a pose where you're not flexing. It's just not really real. And I was so irritated at first. And then I was like, who cares? Really? Who cares? Like out of every single person that liked and commented, I've got one freak. Who cares? And so negative to positive is always a learning process. So, but you're going to learn how to turn those negatives into a positive, or, maybe you were bullied or something, or maybe you did have a lot of rejection. You can turn that into a positive. Don't worry if those 10 won't like you, because 1,000 others will. And then let's see. I love this. Most people will have your back, and even if not, they'll just judge silently. So you'll never know. So, you're so worried about rejection, but, you've got the 10 out of 1,000 freaks, and the other people, even if they had something to say, they're not going to say it out loud. So don't worry about them. But this was like his last quote. You're too damn pretty and you're too damn old to care about rejection. Because you're over 18. You're too old to worry about it. But yeah, he's so funny. So that was number 3. So number 4 was, I must face my fear and jump in. And number 5 was, I must refocus and get more committed. So those were kind of 5 things that really stuck out from me from his seminar. But oh my gosh, I can't tell you enough how much I love him, how much you should, he has, look on his website, but it's called High Performance Academy. And he does all kinds of like coaching and training and stuff like that. He's just absolutely amazing. And he's got a ton of audiobooks that you can listen to too. All right, so that was kind of all. I gave you some homework. So what I want you to do is go through anything that was homework that you didn't do and star those. And so you know that by this weekend, I'd love for you to have all of those things done. And I'd love for you to do the snap out of it method. Even if you're not personally mad at somebody right now, I'd love for you to just do that and see how powerful that is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Craffle is crazy, ridiculous, amazing, fun-filled life. Dr. Pyramidal Goal. I don't know how to say that. What kind of books does he have, Nick? Or what does he do? Unmute yourself. Still muted. There you go.
All right. Sorry about that. I'm on my iPhone. He's actually partnered with Garden of Life he has a probiotic line, and he wrote a book called Grain Brain. But he's actually a neurosurgeon that studies the microbiome, so your gut. So he has a lot of good stuff in there about Alzheimer's too. And so I kind of was like ADD there, but he's also a really good neurosurgeon. So.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, I've heard the Grain Brain is really great. So, but yeah, I just think that like think of things that you waste a ton of time on and replace them with things like podcasts. Like Chalene Johnson has 2 podcasts. She's got the Chalene Show and Build Your Tribe. Those are awesome. They're free. They're great. Christine Dwyer has one. Oh, I can't think of it right off the top of my head, but if you just type in Christine Dwyer, Dwyer, you'll find her. She's a super successful coach. She's been elite 8 times. I think she's like the only person that's ever done that. She's crazy awesome. So yeah, replace, and other things you can do too is if you're doing laundry, you're doing mindless stuff, you can do a podcast or a National Wake Up Call or listen to one of our past team calls or something like that. So just kind of trying to replace negative or habits that aren't helping you reach your priorities with positive ones. So of that I went over in a very scatterbrained, unorganized way, what do you guys think was the one thing that was your biggest takeaway? You can write it in the chat or say. Nothing? Was this a useless hour? No longer fear of rejection. Yes. Abby, you're too damn old. I loved that so much. That you're 18 regardless of your age. If you're worried about people, forget the freaks. Setting priorities. Yes. Preach it, sister. Because, I would have built my business a lot faster if I didn't spend a good 2 hours a day scrolling on Facebook and Instagram. Break habits. Don't be afraid to go out there. Work with purpose. Yes, yes, yes. Basically, don't do what April did for the first 3 years of her business. Please learn from that. The brain dump thing. Yes. Honestly, people were making fun of me at Smart Success because I was trying to have conversations and I would leave out like really important parts of the story, and I'd be done and they'd be like, and I'm like, what? They're like, I'm sorry, Matt said what? And I'm like, it all happens in my head, but I just leave out these really important parts because I think my head is just doing too much. So the brain dump has definitely helped me. 10 over 1,000, making the list and putting family first. Yes. Good stuff. Tanner, way to jump on. Do you know what time it is? Because like we're done. You're muted. What are you doing? Oh, I think I just muted you. Tried to.
I was on a call and I was going to try to jump on and I lost track of time, so.
Well, welcome, Tanner. Tanner, since you were there, tell them like what your biggest takeaway. I kind of like did a little of everything in a super scatterbrained disorder. But what would you think like your biggest takeaway from Smart Success was?
Gosh, damn.
A couple things that you feel like were most helpful that are going to help you in your business.
I think really setting up systems is going to be huge for me. The whole habits and system things I'm going to start doing. And also I really like the priorities things that she said to do. So Chad and I are actually going to do that on the plane. I just think it'll be good to get us on the same page and stuff. So.
Oh, I didn't even talk about that. Yes.
April.
I don't know. I couldn't even read half my notes. But was it policies? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, policies. Sorry.
Okay. So she had you set policies, and I loved this. Like she had some examples, like for her family, they have to spend the evening in the same room. Like they may be on their phone a little bit here and there, but they have to be in the same room, her husband, and her 2 kids. And I love that. Like, and for me, you know, it was so easy for me to be in the other room, like, no, I'm turning my phone off and you have to be in the same room. What were some policies, that other examples or things that you were going to set into place? Mine was being done at 5 p.m. every day but Thursday, and scheduling all my calls on Thursday night.
Wrote them down somewhere. Off the top of my head, I like that she said whenever we travel, we can try to do that together. And I know that's kind of impossible for us, but if we can make that happen, I think that would be something that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find them here.
I know, my notes are everywhere. But yeah. This could be significant other. This could be so much. We decided that we have 2 days a week where we do not work at night, because we're kind of workaholics. Like, we'll work until 9, 10 p.m. and be like, okay, good night. Nice to see you. So Wednesday and Saturday nights are going to be nights where we shut off our phones by 5. So I know your thing is done by 5 every day. I don't feel like I've earned that yet. So I think once I'm further along in the business, we can do that. But since he's building his work and I'm building mine, it's just not feasible. Mm-hmm. So that was one. And then the whole spending a certain amount of money, you have to talk to each other. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to buy that. I'm going here. And he's like, where'd that money go? And I'm like, I planned for it, but I didn't tell him. Yeah. And so, yeah, like Shalene said, they can spend up to a certain amount. When it hits that amount, they have to talk to each other. So I thought that was cool. That was cool.
Oh, the social media where they share their passwords. I mean, not that there's like a trust issue, but I think especially when we have kids, I think that'll be a really cool thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make their kids share their social media passwords.
They said families are as sick as their secrets, and I thought that was really cool because it is. I mean, it just doesn't leave any room for secrets, so.
She said that her daughter must have forgot that she had her password or something, and she said they were DMing as I was on there because I had a suspicion, and I just walked into her room right as she was saying.
You shattered her iPhone. She's like,
so funny. So yeah. What was your favorite part about Brendon Burchard?
The one part of his that just hit my gut, because I feel like the last couple months of my business, I've kind of been, I wouldn't say stagnant. I just haven't been as motivated, which I know, you're not going to be as motivated all the time. But when he talked about how his girlfriend at the time, it's now his wife, they were living in a really small apartment, and he was just kind of jacking around, writing this book, not really trying hard, and all his bills were everywhere. He was bankrupt. She was buying him groceries. She kind of comes in, goes to lay down, tries not to disturb him because she thinks he's working and all this stuff. And he gets into the bed, and all his papers and bills are laying on top of her. And he looks over, and he's like, I saw the weight of the world. Literally, she was sleeping under it. And he's like, and that was the moment that it changed, because it became something worth fighting for. Mm-hmm. And so I think for me, I needed to really reevaluate my why and why I'm doing this and why I want to quit my jobs and all that. So that's something that I've been going over this week, just kind of reestablishing that and actually digging a lot deeper than where I have been in the past, because the longer that you're in this business, the more possibilities you see, and you really start to dream a lot more, and it starts to get a little bit scarier to you, but it motivates me more when I do it that way. So when he talked about something worth fighting for, that really got to me. So
yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have any other questions or anything? Anything we touched on or anything? Okay. Well, I hope that you got a lot out of this. I hope that, you can really take the word intentional and from this, and also hopefully clarity after you do the 30-day push, and you can really realize, think about what you want from life. And, you are worth more than, you were worth more than how many Success Club points you earn at the end of the month. So, you just have to kind of focus on that. So, and I just got it, Tanner, check your text. I just got a text that I earned a celebrity photo op on the cruise.
Me too.
Yay! Okay.
I got a phone call, but yeah.
Oh, that's what I was on the call. That's what I muted them.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, also make sure that you guys are on the Punta Cana wait list and make sure that you're hitting Success Club so you can get off of it. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. But thank you so much for hopping on, and I will post the recording later. Bye.